Move your rook up to checkmate me. This is the classic rook and king checkmate pattern. Your king controls the 7th rank, while your rook dominates the 8th. You can also do it like this. Again, your king controls the 7th rank while your rook checks my king and attacks the 8th rank. Checkmate. Do you see an immediate checkmate here? That's it. Nice job spotting this mate. My king is in the corner. Do you see the checkmate? That is check, but it allows my king to escape to g8. Keep looking. My king is in the corner. Do you see the checkmate? That's it. All right, you're ready for something a little harder now. Your rook has trapped my king on the 8th rank, but to checkmate, your king must get personally involved. My king doesn't have many options. Now corner my king completely. The b8 square is the only safe space for my king. And now you can play checkmate. Do you see it? That's it. You couldn't have done it without your king. Here as well, your king must approach. I will attack your rook. You must not lose your rook. My king can only move back and forth between g8 and h8 while your king approaches. Move your king to f6 to set up the checkmate. Still trapped, my king can only move back and forth. Once your king stands at g6, he will control the critical squares on the 7th rank. I have only one move to play. And now you can end the game by playing checkmate. Do you see it? You saw it. Well done. It's my turn. I'll do this. A lot of beginners would play this. Go ahead and do it. But then my king can step aside before you can checkmate me. And you could come back. Go ahead and play it. And it looks like we're cursed to dance back and forth together forever. But there is a way out. I'll show you. The way out of dancing back and forth forever is to play a move that does nothing but waste time, losing a turn on purpose. So, when I move, you must lose a turn by moving your rook. My king knows f8 would be his doom, so he'll go to h8. Now your king goes in for the kill. My king has only one legal move. And now you know what to do. As you see, losing a turn was essential. If you approach with your king to f5, I will simply step aside and our kings will not be aligned. Move your rook to g1 to lose a turn. By moving your rook, you have passed the move back to me. My king only has two options. Let's see what happens if I move to h4. With our kings aligned, your rook is ready to deliver checkmate. Do you see it? Well played. Let's look at this position again. Move your rook to G turn and keep my king trapped against the edge. This time, I will run with my king in the other direction. Now your king can give chase, running my regent into the corner. Towards the corner I go. Move your king to chase mine further into the corner. I know that if I move to h6, you will have a checkmate, so I will prolong the inevitable and escape to h8. Now move your king to f7, giving me no choice but to place my king in front of yours on the next turn. Your pieces force my king to the square h7. With our kings aligned, your rook is ready to deliver checkmate. Bravo! If it were your turn, moving your rook to d8 would be checkmate, but it's my turn. My king attacks your rook. Move it to safety. Your rook and king control all of the squares around my king except for b8, where I am forced to move. I was forced to move here, and now you have checkmate. Checkmate. Often you will need to lose a move. Let's test your technique with a problem. Let's see if you can checkmate me using what you've learned. Your move. Checkmate. You did it. Let's look at what can go wrong in this endgame. Move your rook to b7. This is a stalemate because my king is not in check, and I have no legal moves. This is a draw that should be avoided. The rook is ideally placed, so spend your turn to improve your king by moving him to b6. I can only move to b8, so there isn't much for me to think about. Now you can checkmate me in 2 moves by losing a move, as we've seen before. Retreat your rook to give the move back to me. Your rook and king coordinate to force my regent into the corner. Now bring your rook back into the fray and checkmate my king. Nicely done. Remember this technique when you have the enemy king boxed into the corner. Let's put it all together with this example. Start by moving your rook to e5. Your rook makes a box around my king, restricting my movement. Move your rook to d5 to squeeze the box a little smaller and further restrict my king's possibilities. With limited options, I have no choice but to move towards the edge of the board. Now move your rook to c5 and squeeze the box around my king smaller still. By tightening the box around my king even further, you'll push me into the corner. You cannot make the box around my king any smaller, as moving your rook to c6 would allow me to capture it. So, improve your king by stepping him closer to the action. Still trapped, my king has few options. Any rook movement would let my king out of the box, so move your king instead. Towards the corner I go. Make the box around my king smaller by moving your rook to c6. No matter where I move, I will soon be trapped on the edge. Play your rook to c7, restricting my king to the edge of the board. For the rest of the game, my king can only move back and forth between a8 and b8, giving you ample time to set up a checkmate. With your rook ideally placed, it's time to move your king closer to the action. I have only one legal move. Your rook occupies a perfect square, so the right idea is a king move again. My only option is to retreat to the corner and await the inevitable. You know what to do. Now let's see your technique in action with some practice problems. Your rook has my king restrained on the edge of the board. March your king towards mine in order to set up a checkmate. You did it. Let's look at a slightly harder example. Again, your rook has my king trapped on the edge of the board. Bring your king towards mine to help checkmate. Well played. Now let's look at an even harder example. This is your toughest one yet. Don't forget to use your king. Bravo! Now let's look at a position where my king is in the center of the board. Start by pushing my king out of the center with a check. Sorry, that wasn't the right move. Let's go back and look again. Now let's look at a position where my king is in the center of the board. Start by pushing my king out of the center with a check. My king must flee the check. Move your rook to safety on e4. My king finds himself boxed in by your rook. Now move your king to d2 to squeeze my king towards the edge of the board. Your king and rook work well together to push my king where he doesn't want to go. Move your king to c2 and trap mine against the edge. My king finds himself trapped on the edge, with only one safe square left to move to. Do you see the checkmate here? Bravo! Let's look at another example of pushing the king out of the center. I'll try to keep my king in the center this time. Start by moving your rook to b4. That's check, so my king must move. Move your king to e3 where he will be close enough to help in the battle. I am going to try to keep my king in the center for as long as possible. Now check my king by moving your rook to b5. Notice how your king prevents mine from moving to the 4th rank, while your rook controls the 5th rank, pushing me out of the center. Towards the edge I go. Now step your king to e4, bringing him one square closer to the action. With few options, I will try again to keep my king in the center as long as possible. Move your rook to b6 and check my king once more. Again, your king prevents mine from moving to the 5th rank, while your rook controls all of the squares along the 6th rank, pushing my king backwards to the 7th rank. Move your king to e5 and tighten the screws around my king. This time, I will attack your rook with my king. Move your rook to d6, where it will be protected by your king and create a smaller box around my own. My king is starting to feel a little claustrophobic now. There is no safe rook move that can squeeze the box smaller, so bring your king closer. I have very few squares left to choose from. Again, there are no rook moves that would squeeze the box smaller, so move your king to c5 where it will be ideally placed to coordinate with your rook. No matter where I move now, you will squeeze the box around my king smaller still. Move your rook to d7 and check my king. Your king and rook work in tandem to force my king to the edge of the board. Protect your rook by moving your king to c6. My king has only one legal move. Squeeze the box further still by moving your rook to c7. My king can only move back and forth between a8 and b8. Now move your king to b6 and prepare to checkmate me. Remember, it's important to leave my king at least one square to move to, otherwise it would be stalemate. Again, I have only one move to make. Now waste a move with your rook, leaving me with no choice but to move my king into the corner. Moving your rook to c1 is the most dramatic. Sorry, that wasn't the right move. Let's go back and look again. Now waste a move with your rook, leaving me with no choice but to move my king into the corner. Moving your rook to c1 is the most dramatic. Unable to escape, my king is forced to a8. And now play checkmate. Well played. Now let's get some practice with this technique. You've learned a lot, I'll wager. I'll give you 3 final tests. Your move. Checkmate. Nicely done. Remember, squeeze my king with your rook and king towards the edge of the board until you can play checkmate. You're getting the hang of this. This is your final challenge. I have faith in you. Outstanding. Knowing how to checkmate with a rook is a critical skill that will give you confidence in the endgame. Excellent work completing this lesson. Your technique is improving.